welcome one and all. Well, lots is happening. Oh, man. There's so much going on. I mean, there were more ICE agents attacked yesterday that were involved in a major shootout because, well, you know, they've got some bad people after them. I'm going to cover that a little later. National politics, although ICE is involved in international politics because they're repelling foreign invaders from the United States, which of course is a very important thing for them to do. But I want to talk about Greenland and Cuba. President Trump did an interview last night with Sean Hannity, and he was talking about the relationship that Cuba had with Venezuela. And, Cuba was giving them protection. And was basically running the country. And Venezuela was giving Cuba money and oil. And, Cuba is not just very, very poor. I mean, they're barely hanging on. They've been barely hanging on for a long time. And Venezuela's been keeping them going. And when Castro was in power, Fidel Castro did something devastating to Cuba after he took over, other than, of course, bringing them into, the destructive world of communism. Cuba has to do all business in cash. They have no credit. Fidel Castro blew the credit rating of Cuba. So, you hear a lot of times with the American economy, you'll hear people talk about the faith and good credit of the United States. Cuba has no credit. They're forced to do everything because of the incompetence of Fidel in cash. And they need cash. There's no more cash coming from Venezuela, and there's no more oil. There's an embargo against Cuba that's been violated, and because of the oil sent there from Venezuela, there's no more oil coming. So Cuba has no more money coming in and no more oil. And, living here in Florida, I've been through many, many hurricanes when we've had power knocked out. And let me tell you, we're a modern country, but when you don't have electricity for a few days and and you have a major hurricane and gas stations can't pump gas or they don't have gas delivered, it happens quick. Gas stations run out of gas quick. And in Cuba, they already are rationing gas on a normal day. They've never had enough fuel for everyone. They can't even in the best of times in Cuba, with all the propping up of Venezuelan money and oil, they couldn't keep the electricity on all day and all night, only a few hours a day. Some areas don't even have electricity in Cuba. So now that the oil's been cut off, and the oil was beginning to get cut off before we grabbed Maduro, but now it's completely cut off. And we're approaching a week. Now, they may have gotten a little bit through here and there, but there's no more coming in. So what is the situation like in Cuba? And, CNN, J.D. Vance went after CNN, rightly so, very hard yesterday in that press conference about how corrupt they are. CNN has a bureau in Havana. And there's some other news organizations that have bureaus in Havana, because while the United States has an embargo on Cuba, Europe does it and Canada does it. And a lot of Canadians go to Cuba. So there's not only, CNN in Cuba that has a bureau there. Some of the international news outlets that are pretty well known do too. I haven't seen a single report, not one, anywhere about the current condition in Cuba since we took over Venezuela. And that tells me that it's really bad. They don't want to show it. It's truly journalistic malpractice. But Cuba is going to be liberated by Trump. because the government's going to fall. So we've got a few big things going on here, right? We just liberated Venezuela. That's a work in progress. Cuba, their government has got to be on the verge of collapse with no more money coming in for Venezuela and the oil cutoff. And what's happening in Iran is just fantastic. The government's not mowing down the protesters because they're afraid of Trump. Trump warned them that if they took out the protesters like they did in the past, he would respond militarily. So the protests have been growing, and people are losing their fear of the government, and more people are coming out. So this year we may see the liberation. Well, we saw the liberation of Venezuela. The liberation of Cuba is around the corner. And Iran, that's getting closer too all the time. President Trump is freeing so many people from fascist dictatorships. And these idiot liberals in Oregon, in Minneapolis, they run around calling Trump a fascist when he's freeing people from total fascist dictatorships all over the world. Yeah, I'm going to doing the show from the radio station today, so I'm in the car heading to the radio station, which is pretty far from my house. But I got to do some work at the radio station when I get off the air, and I got a meeting up there too in that area later this morning, so I'm going up to the radio station. First time up there in a couple weeks. If you're new, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. On the next stream, I'll be in the studio taking calls. And the toll-free number will be pinned in the live chat then. So I'm gonna lead with Bongino because Bongino dropped something big yesterday. I'll get into that later. But right now, you know, now we've got Greenland. And there was a story yesterday that President Trump is talking about giving each native of Greenland $100,000 when they join the United States. And I read yesterday that the president and Marco Rubio met with representatives from Greenland and Denmark at the White House. So Greenland is on the verge of becoming a part of the greatest country in the world, the United States. That's going to change everything because the threat that Russia and China have on Europe, they're in Greenland already, guys. They're in Greenland already, working around there. And once Greenland is U.S. soil, the Russian and Chinese won't touch it. Hold on, guys, just getting on the interstate. This car, I've had this car a year. It has I don't drive it that much. It has so many features on it I don't know how to use or turn off. As an example, you know that feature that doesn't let you change lanes if there's a car too close to you, in its opinion. I hate that one. It's good sometimes, but if you ever try to go against it, it'll fight you. I have no idea how to turn it off. But Greenland becoming a part of the United States will change so much in the world. Let's see, where am I? Okay, hold on. Up. Trying to get around these trucks. I hate driving behind semis. They spit rocks at you. But Greenland is going to be a part of the United States, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen pretty soon. It's going to happen pretty soon. I think they've already got a deal, and President Trump's just working out the fine details and letting Denmark save a little face. You know what I mean? But I think it's already a done deal. He wouldn't be meeting with them, with Marco Rubio, if it wasn't. You know, and it's amazing to me how our left-wing public education system has brainwashed the last couple generations of people, of Americans, to think it's a bad idea for us to expand into Greenland or liberate Venezuela. Or their next thing is they're going to tell us how bad it is to liberate Cuba or even Iran. They just don't have any understanding of the way of the world, because they've been brainwashed by this Hate America First crew. I'm sandwiched in between these semis. I can't go for the pass. They have a lot of new traffic laws in Florida, and it has people totally freaked out because the penalties are so high now. Oh my goodness, people are driving like madmen. Hold on, let me put this down for a minute. I'll be right back. I'll be back, guys. I'm in a lot of traffic, so once I get through this traffic, I'll be back. All right. I got away from the semis. I was sandwiched in between a bunch of 18-wheelers. Oh, I'm always careful driving. Don't worry about me. But this time of day, there's a lot of 18-wheelers on the road, and I hate being around them because mostly because they spit rocks all over the place. But they have brainwashed so many people into thinking that countries becoming free are bad. These democratic socialists have been much more successful than people realize. They really have. You know what? There's not as many of them as you think. Now, there's one of the things I want to cover today on the show. There's been another ICE. I'll get into the details when I get on the air. But there's been another ICE shooting in Portland. They were rammed and attacked by Venezuelan illegals, Trinidad de Agua. You know, and these attacks that have been going on against ICE agents around the country, even after what happened in Minneapolis, are increasing, not decreasing. And Kristi Noem is so right when she calls it domestic terrorism, because that's what it is. But the ones that are the illegals, they're foreign terrorists. This one in Portland, this was Trinidad de Agua. And now all these things came out about the woman in Minneapolis that tried to run the ICE officer over. I mean, she was not just an activist, she was a trainer. She was training people in this resist ICE movement. You know, I got a call yesterday afternoon on my podcast, and the guy asked a question. Maybe you have an answer to this. I don't. He was asking, why are so many white women so radically liberal? And that's a good question. I don't have an answer to that. I know, I told him, I said Malcolm X even was warning about liberal white women. I don't know why liberal white women are so radically liberal. I really don't. You see some of the ways that these liberal lunatics are acting, a lot of it's emotion, that's for sure. But it's incoherent, it makes no sense. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'm heading to the radio station today, so I'll be broadcasting from the radio station. I have been up since 1 a.m. I got a really busy day, so I got up early. I had to do a lot of audio production. I had to record some new commercials for the radio station and my podcast today. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do them this morning before the show and get them done. I was going to record them after, but to do it, I had to get up at 1 a.m. So it's pretty early. I just cannot believe how much traffic is on the road. With the schedule I have, I just don't know. You know, the days blend together, because yesterday I got up at 1:30 a.m. and then, you know, I did the morning show. I carried the press conference of the vice president, and then I did a podcast. And then by the time I'm done, I'm like, okay, it's rinse and repeat time. I got to get to sleep because I got to get up at 1 a.m. in the morning. But I like it. I get more done in the early hours of the morning, I'll tell you. Don't you? Now, I'm coming up on the Mar-a-Lago exit. I wonder if President Trump's coming home to Mar-a-Lago this weekend. He was here for 2 weeks for Christmas and New Year's, so he may not. He may stay in D.C. I did not look at his schedule. But today when I get home, I'll have nothing to do since I did all that production. At the beginning of the year, every year, I got to like update the commercials for the show. So I'm recording a bunch of commercials. You got up at 12:30? Yeah, I was awake around 12:30, I woke up at 11:45. I didn't know what time. I woke up and like, oh, was it when? I looked at the clock. I'm like, no, it's 11:45. So I went back to sleep. You can tell what time I woke up because I started posting to X. Because I picked up my iPhone and started doing show prep in bed before I got out of bed. But I actually got out of the bed at 1. But whenever I started posting to X this morning, that's when I woke up. And a lot of people text me. They text me friends of mine will text me stories that they think I might be interested in. So the first thing I did this morning was go through my text. People text me at weird times because everyone knows I get up so early in the morning. So I get texts from people all over the country. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. People text me stories they think I might be interested in for the show. And I look at those. And then I start going to the news. But whenever you see me start posting on X, that means that's when I got up. But Dan Bongino, I'm going to play a clip of Dan Bongino. He announced what he's going to be doing. He's going to be back on the air at the beginning of February. But he gave some details on some things that I'm going to share when I start on the main show today, on the next stream. And of course, today is Friday. I can't believe it's Friday already, the first regular week of the new year. So that means it's open phones on the program today. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. So today you guys can call in about any and everything you want. You're not limited to the things I bring up. No, there's a guy in a pickup broken down on the side of the road. That sucks. You got to have AAA, guys. AAA is very nice to have. You can see it's a long drive. It's much easier when I use my studio at home, right across the hall from my bedroom. Then go to the radio station, which is pretty darn far. Okay, I'm coming up to the Mar-a-Lago exit. Now this is the exit. I show every time I drive up here. I show you guys. This is the exit to Mar-a-Lago, Southern Boulevard. Although it's been renamed to Donald John Trump Boulevard. They just haven't changed the sign. And this bridge I'm going under, Air Force One parks about half a mile to the left of this bridge. And this is the bridge that the president drives on every time he goes from Air Force One to Mar-a-Lago and back. And it's also where Zelensky and Netanyahu and the cabinet drive across, but here it is. That's the exit to Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago is about 5 minutes away if we were to get off there. And this is the bridge the president drives on every time he goes to or from Mar-a-Lago to Air Force One. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. That's right. It's even better when he's there. But I don't know if he's coming home this weekend or not. Like I said, he was here for 2 weeks for Christmas and New Year's, so. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Oh my goodness. Welcome, Maine. Well, the traffic's kind of cleared up. Not so much traffic now. Where I got on by my house, oh my goodness, it was jam-packed. That's right. Yep, going to the radio station. I have to do a few things at the radio station today after the show. And I got a meeting somewhere up near the radio station this morning. Then I have a meeting way down in Broward County, so I'll probably be done today about noon. And after that, since I got out of bed at 1 a.m., I'll be pretty wiped. I'm going to go to Starbucks, get caffeinated. It takes me, then I got to go to the radio station and set up, so it takes me about 15-20 minutes to set everything up at the radio station to live stream on YouTube. My studio at home is permanently set up, so to broadcast on the radio and YouTube at the same time. So it's, with this, I got to set things up. Oh, there's a bad accident here. So a massive sign, all bent. Whatever hit that got messed up, I'll tell you. Where am I? I'm getting close to my exit. Oh no, I got further than I thought. I thought I was coming up on my exit, and I'm not. You can tell I'm still not there, and I've been on the road half an hour. Coming up's a lot faster because traffic's moving. When I get off this morning, it doesn't move this well, so it could take an hour or more when I get off the air to get where I'm going. That's right. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're new. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Yeah, so the situation in Cuba has got to be dire because I know after a hurricane, when there's been no electricity, gas shortages happen real quick because before a hurricane comes, everybody goes and fills up their cars, and then most people have 5-gallon jugs for gasoline, you know, that they fill up as well, which I do, not so much for the cars, but I fill up the cars, but, you know, I have a generator that powers most everything in my house, but it runs on gas. So I fill up a whole bunch of those. But when the electricity's out after a hurricane, the gas shortage hits real quick because everybody loaded up right before the storm. So the gas stations are low or out of gas before the hurricane even hits. So if you get a bad hurricane and there's no electricity and they can't deliver gas and they can't pump gas, things get really desperate in 2 to 3 days. And this is a first world country. You're in Cuba, where they have a gas shortage every day of the week for the last 70 years, 60 years. And they get their oil cut off from Venezuela. It's an instantaneous hit. They do not have any reserves. And when a hurricane hits, and we have that problem, it's just in the part of the country where the hurricane hit. The rest of the country is fine. Cuba, the whole country's out of gas by now. They're probably siphoning gas out of people's private vehicles right now. So how long can the Cuban regime stay in power when they have no gasoline? Because without oil, they have no electricity. How are they going to power their electrical plant? So, no. I'd be very curious to see an aerial photograph, aerial video of Havana at night this week, like say Friday night around 8 or 9 o'clock compared to Friday night 2 weeks ago or 6 months ago, and see how many lights are on this Friday night as compared to a few months ago. And my guess is there'll be very few lights on in Havana right now. Would be my guess, wouldn't you? No, this isn't good. Hold on. Oh, good, okay. The parking lot is flooded. Must have really rained here. Wow, it didn't rain at my house, but it rained here. Pretty hard. All right, I'll take a quick look at the chat. Mocha latte double. Now I get a venti hot blonde Americano. I'm going to get a venti hot blonde Americano with an extra shot of espresso and cream. Is what I'm going to get today. It's what I get every day. I need the extra shot of espresso today. I don't always get the extra shot of espresso, but I always get the venti blonde Americano hot. Don't get the ice. There's hardly any coffee in it. All right, guys, listen. I've got 20 minutes till Starbucks opens, so I'm gonna do a little more show prep, and then I'll see you on the next stream soon. Make sure you subscribe. Remember, it's Open Phones, Open Mega Mic Friday. On today's show, the show prep is up to you guys. All right. I'll see you then. Take care. Thanks for watching.